live for this special broadcast. And really, just to first start off and say, you did it. You got through it. If we go back to how we started 2020, and we were thinking everything was going to be a good year, election year is supposed to be good. And then March 13th came, and I think most of us realized that we are not in what we had expected to be. We are in a different area, especially when Tom Hanks said that he had COVID and had to be locked down, and we had an awful lot of people who were struggling. And of course, it got into a bad time, and we are seeing now that there's both headwinds and tailwinds for the economy. But I'm excited. I saw that so many of you had followed in and had shared what you were grateful for about your business and what you'd learned and how much innovation you had done, as well as how much you had, how much creativity had been unleashed, right? You had to find new ways to do things, and you'd have to be able to go through and say, well, how can I make it work? And I appreciate you being here with me. I've been hosting live videos for, my goodness, 4 years, and I don't think I ever got as big of a turnout as I did this year, where some broadcasts got up to 50,000, and you shared them immensely, and I appreciate that ever so much, because I only do this to help you out. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm in my 26th year, and it never ceases to amaze me the power of the individual at times like this. And you came through in shining stars and examples of being gracious and being sensitive, and also being focused that it's about helping a customer first and then helping myself second. And to me, that is still the key for being successful in 2021, that it is about serving now to sell later. And so many of you joining, I see you joining in. Thanks so much for that. Got people from all around the world, as always. So thank you very much for that. And you can always type in and let me know where you're joining me from. But I am going to ask you to do one special thing this time. What did you learn from me in the last 365 days that you put to practice, whether that's in your personal life or your business life? Would you just type that in and let me know what you got out of it? Because quite simply, the more we realize how it's been a journey, but it hasn't been a black hole. There's been a lot that has happened. So tell me, what's one thing that you have taken away from what I've shared in my blogs or my virtual speeches or on these live broadcasts, and let's harvest that good energy while I'm at it. Because quite simply, I had somebody on LinkedIn the other day, and they said, what movie would you say most represented 2020? And people had all of these horrible things that they were sharing. And I said, well, that's easy. It's A Wonderful Life. Because at the end of all of this, as we come through this year, realize that we are unique. We have the opportunity to run a business, or to work in a business, and to be creating our destiny every day. And yes, there's an awful lot of inequality. There's a lot of things wrong. Don't get me wrong. I can go down that road. But the reality is, it's a wonderful life. And the more we realize that we are the masters of our minds, I think the more successful we're going to be in 2021. Manesha, I learned from you that you should be honest with yourself. I love that. That's great. What else did people learn? Again, just do me a favor and just go through and share that with me. I would love to see that. There's always a little lag when we do live videos, and not all of my platforms work the same. So I understand that can be different. Good. So tell me, what is it that you've got from that? Be authentic. Oh, that's great. This is great, Susan. Be authentic yourself with your customers, get to know them, and thank them on a personal note. That's exactly it. Mary, customer service is never out of style. Boy, that's a good one. That's for sure. So, some people ask me, well, what are you looking forward to in 21? Look, I think that it's going to be a great year. I think that the news, the vaccine couldn't come quick enough. And I get it. The news media wants to tell you that it's all getting worse and all of that. I get all of that. But the reality is, a vaccine is hope, which we haven't had concrete hope in a long time, and being able to count on that is going to make a big difference. Also, we have an incoming new president, and the one thing that was going to be obvious is we're going to have government spending, and government spending is going to lead to construction jobs, and construction jobs lead to an awful lot of people getting back to work. I think we'll also see manufacturing coming back because there'll be new protocols, and all of this is going to roll up into a new hedonism. And that could be like the roaring 20s in a lot of ways, that a lot of people are going to treat themselves. We've already seen this with an awful lot of businesses that are sheepishly DMing me or messaging me and saying, I feel embarrassed to say, but my business has never been better. It's like, I get it. You don't want to crow about that, especially to your customers, because in a lot of ways it feels like, but there's a lot of people suffering. But make no mistake, we are on the cusp of a lot of opportunity. And how are you going to harvest that? How are you going to be able to take that and do something? That's the key. Because actually, be a leader. That's awesome. Mike, make your business an escape from what's going on outside, including your store appearance and in your employee conversations. That's great. Amy, I learned how to teach my staff about connecting with customers, the necessity of being real. And I love that you reinforced the importance of looking forward positively. Yeah, that's right. And there's a lot of you still out there. You haven't typed in what your message is to me. So go ahead and tell me what did you get? Oh, I had to turn that off. Sorry. What did you get out of following me in the last 365 days? Even if you just tuned in today, what's one thing you took out of it? So the other thing is that people are going to be treating themselves with vacations. And yes, restaurants are having a very tough time, particularly if you're in a major city like New York or San Francisco where you're dependent. But the government jobs coming back is going to be important for so many little downtowns and big downtowns, because it gives those opportunity areas the chance to have people coming into it again. And yes, malls are going to have a tough time, but make no mistake that no one's going to write them off, and they're going to find a way to reinvent themselves. And one quick note to you is, one thing that I have been using this whole year is I'm using Siri a lot more, and other friends of mine are using Google Assistant, and just saying, when you have an idea, capture it. And you say, hey, Siri, go send me a reminder that tomorrow I want to come up with a list of 3 best ways that I can reach out to my customers. Or you have an idea while you're working out, and capture it in the moment. The old way, I'd say, write it down in a notebook. But that's really very 1980s. You have the technology, make sure that you're using it. And then the other side of that also is just let it go. There's things that we hold on to that maybe we shouldn't. And then when it comes to a new year, it's easier to say I should do something. But there's a part of it also to say, do I really have to get involved in a lot of things? I just went through and I watched Wonder Woman 84, and I just kind of railed on social media, a friend of mine's post, just like why it was just a waste of my time. And I just realized after I read it, it was like, well, I can let this go for 2021. It just doesn't matter. Let's just move on. And so if you are interested in how to plan your 2021 and you want to get ahead of it, I encourage you to join me at my workshop on Thursday, January 7th at 11 a.m. You can find the link up in the original post and join me. There's no cost, but you do have to register, because there is going to be locked out. And I think we've already are going to max out with the number of people who registered. If you all show up, somebody's going to get kicked out. But even if that happened, you'd still get a recording afterwards you can watch at your leisure. And the other thing to realize is that we only do 4 of my comeback sprints a year for Sales Rex, my online retail sales training program. You can sign up any time of the year, but if you sign up during one of the sprints, you actually get me for 5 weeks to hold you accountable to get even more out of the system. It's a monthly subscription, and all you have to do is you can get started by just giving me $1 to hold your place in line. We only take a set amount of people for this, and that's the following week on January 15th, and the link is up above as well. So the main thing I want you to do is get on that workshop with me January 7th, where I'm going to talk about the 7 mistakes retailers make, and you don't want to do that, and 4 actions you need to take to have a great 2021. So many people are saying, what should I do? What should I do? Well, I'm going to help you filter through some of the noise, and more importantly, just keep that same focus that it's about serving a customer and helping them get everything they want so that they're going to help you get everything that you want. And it's not a matter of, you can't say, darn it, fire, give me heat, and then I'll put the logs in. You actually have to put the logs in to get the heat. And that's always been my focus, that there's an awful lot of opportunity that we have, but make no mistake, we are on the cusp of the wave as it is getting more opportunity and people looking forward to saying goodbye to 2020. Are you going to be the one leading it, or are you going to be waiting and it's like, well, I'm not sure? Because I'm telling you, your competitors are already thinking, oh my gosh, how are we got to deal with this when, let's face it. So what are the things that are going to happen? Rents are going to go down in most downtown areas, no 2 ways about it, malls, etc. landlords are going to be looking for the new, the interesting, the connected, the person who has a plan and is going to deal with it. Is that going to be you? If it isn't, it's going to be your competitor. Are you going to put up with employees who don't give a dang about being in your store, and you're going to be caught up in saying, I just wish I could get them to do it? Or are you going to say, I'm only going to hire people that I'm willing to give my brand new car keys to, and I trust them that well? Or we got to so micromanage them. We're going to say, you have to keep your phones in your car because you can't be trusted. I don't think that's going to make you money. I think ultimately you're going to have to find a way to find people that you trust, to give them the training. Obviously, I'm a retail sales trainer to some of the biggest brands in the world for a reason, and smallest mom and pops, that we have to go through and say, it's up to you. You who are watching this, are you willing to settle for employees? Are you willing to settle for the leftovers for someone who can't get something on Amazon? Or are you willing to say, I'm going to brand my customers' butt that they wouldn't even think of going somewhere else? If you're interested in that, then join me as I share my thoughts through 2021. But most importantly, join me on Thursday, January 7th, after you partied all night tonight. Yeah, if I make it till 9 o'clock, I'm always good. When I lived in California and New York, I pretty much keep the same thing. It's like, why am I doing this? But the idea of renewed hope is what tomorrow is all about. That we think, all right, let's reset it. Let's do something good for ourselves, for our customers, for our communities. Oh, and by doing that, yeah, it's also going to help us. Now is the time to still serve before selling. So I hope that helps, and I hope you'll join me. And in the meantime, have a great New Year's, but take stock. You did it. We're getting through it, and I look forward to seeing you in 2021. Thanks for joining me.